Get the unmissable news stories of the day.
This is the Beijing Hour.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Thursday, March 19th, 2026. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, Turkmenistan's national leaders wrapped up his visit in Beijing after discussions with the Chinese president regarding cooperation and shared development. Iran says Israel has struck the South Pars gas field, and Tehran's retaliated on a number of regional targets. And China's again urged Japan to change its stance regarding the Taiwan question. In business, China's updating rules for foreign companies exporting food to China. In sports, setting up the last 8 in the UEFA Champions League. In culture and entertainment, celebrating the first International Tai Chi Day. Now checking the day's top stories. The Turkmen national leaders wrapped up his 3-day goodwill visit to China. Earlier in Beijing, Chinese President Xi Jinping told Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov that China is willing to discuss cooperation plans and share development opportunities with Turkmenistan to advance and deepen the community with a shared future. President Xi urged the two sides to accelerate the alignment of China's Belt and Road Initiative and Turkmenistan's revival of the Great Silk Road and expand cooperation in areas such as natural gas, agriculture, and artificial intelligence. He also called for efforts to crack down on the 3 evil forces of terrorism, separatism, and extremism to ensure security for development. President Xi said China stands ready to work with Turkmenistan to practice true multilateralism and lead the reform and global governance in the spirit of fairness and justice, as well as openness and inclusivity. The Turkmen national leader expressed his country's willingness to strengthen coordination with China within multilateral frameworks to safeguard peace and stability. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1992, the two countries have enjoyed healthy and stable growth in bilateral ties. Wang Mengjie caught up with the Chinese and Turkmen experts to learn about how this cordial relationship could evolve to boost regional stability and collaboration.
According to Chinese Ministry of Commerce, China is Turkmenistan's largest trading partner, largest export destination, and largest import source country. Holding the 4th largest natural gas reserves in the world, Turkmenistan is the largest source of pipeline natural gas imports for China from Central Asia. From Turkmenistan's perspective, will energy cooperation be the main reason for Berdimuhamedov's visit?
首先是在能源问题上面。
It will continue to promote cooperation in energy, but it is also a trip to show the country's adjustment on development strategy, which is affected by regional uncertainties, such as the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran.
Turkmenistan, which shares a southern border with Iran, has been recognized as a permanent neutral state by the United Nations.
Despite regional turbulence, Turkmenistan actively attracts investment, opens up new trade channels, and shows it aims to play a greater role in international affairs.
As good friends with shared aspirations, China and Turkmenistan have also made notable achievements in fields such as education and culture. The two sides are accelerating the Luban workshop program and are establishing culture centers in each other's country.
China is not only a great country, a powerful global economic and industrial center with vast and promising markets, but also a reliable and trustworthy friend. The relationship between China and Turkmenistan has become an important factor for stability and development in the Eurasian region.
Experts say Berdimuhamedov's visit is more than a courtesy call. It aims to promote energy cooperation, discuss regional issues, and display the country's development strategy adjustment. They believe better China-Turkmenistan ties will assist stability and certainty for regional collaboration.
That was Wang Mengjie reporting. And for more, Li Dongning spoke with Hu Juhao, a professor at the Institute of Russian, Eastern European, and Central Asian Studies at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences.
Professor Ju, as we know, the two countries has elevated its partnership as the comprehensive strategic one. How to further enhance a already solid partnership then?
Yes, I think that in more than 30 years, that China and Turkmenistan have achieved good results in their cooperation. So for the future cooperation, I think that energy cooperation, especially the natural gas cooperation, is still our priority, in which I think that two projects are very significant. The first one is the fourth pipeline project from Turkmenistan, obviously from Central Asia to China. And this project is now under construction. And the second is the Garknish natural gas field. Then this field is the second largest onshore natural gas field in the world. And Turkmenistan has launched a fourth phase of development for this field. And the entire project was contracted to Chinese company. So when we together complete these two projects, that I think that the natural gas volume of export from Turkmenistan will increase a lot, and we'll have a more strengthened cooperation, energy cooperation. Also, except energy cooperation, I think both countries want to broaden their cooperation fields in non-resource sectors. We would love to help Turkmenistan to build a modern industrial system. So I think that technology, such like AI, telecommunication, and also clean energy, which is very important for the future cooperation for China and Turkmenistan. Also, the launch of the Luban workshop is also very important because that the local youth, the local people in Turkmenistan could get trained by this workshop and become more skilled workers, especially in manufacturing industry. So I think that all of this could strengthen the cooperation of the two countries in the future.
Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, national leader of the Turkmenistan people and chairman of the People's Council of Turkmenistan. During the visit, he also noted that China's prosperity and development benefit the world. How do you read behind this statement?
Yeah, I think that the cooperation between China and Turkmenistan can be a very good story for why China's own development could benefit other countries and also the whole world. As we know that Turkmenistan is a country that highly relied on natural gas, or we see the resource export. It wants to have a very stable natural gas, or we see energy consumer and consumer market. So in the past several decades, China has boosted its own economy and has become one of the largest and also very stable natural gas consumer in the world. So in this regard, that it could be a very ideal partner for Turkmenistan in energy cooperation. And also China wants to help Turkmenistan to build its own modern industry. So we invest more in the infrastructure, in the transportation, and also in other many fields of the Turkmenistan's economies. So I think that's why China's own development could benefit Turkmenistan and also the whole world.
That was Zhu Hao from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. And to understand the strength of Chinese-Turkmenistan ties, follow the cargo. In 2025, bilateral trade turnover reached a record of nearly $10.5 billion. Xu Hua takes us to southern China to see how a direct cargo air route born from this deepening partnership is now delivering efficiency and opportunity.
It's a typical Wednesday morning at Shenzhen Airport. A cargo plane is being loaded for its 9-hour flight to Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan. This twice-weekly service has now become a regular and familiar sight.
It's 3:30 a.m. on Wednesday, but to understand how these boxes got here, we have to rewind the clock to yesterday afternoon.
Tuesday, 3 p.m., at a logistics warehouse near the airport. General Manager Cheng was preparing the very same cargo for its journey.
This shipment is electronics and helmets worth over 3 million yuan. Since the charter flight started in 2023 through the end of 2025, we've operated 303 flights, growing from zero to this scale.
With the cargo loaded, we followed Cheng's team on the drive to the airport.
How did you ship goods to Turkmenistan before?
In the past, shipping to Turkmenistan mainly by truck and rail. It will take around 12 to 25 days, and it is highly affected by the weather and the port congestion. After our flights start, shipment can arrive on same day.
Speed isn't just about the flight itself. Streamlined customs clearance gets goods from Shenzhen to the Turkmen market much faster.
We've improved smart air logistics with smart checkpoints and security locks to boost efficiency. We also offer 24/7 customs clearance and guide companies on advanced declarations to speed up exports.
This efficiency shows in the numbers. In 2025, China-Turkmenistan trade topped $10.46 billion, partly boosted by this direct air corridor.
Now in its fourth year, this air cargo route is delivering more than just goods. It delivers stronger connections between China and Turkmenistan.
That was Shuha reporting. Coming up, Iran accuses Israel of striking the South Pars gas field.
U.S. tech giant Apple is cutting its App Store fees in China, a rare move in one of its most critical markets. What's driving the change? Who stands to gain the most? And could this be the start of a global rethink of big tech's power? Get these and more on this week's Chat Lounge, wherever you listen to podcasts and on CGTN Radio.
At 12 minutes past the hour, Iran's accused Israel of striking its facilities at the South Pars gas field. In retaliation, Tehran has targeted energy infrastructure across the Gulf region, firing missiles at Qatar and Saudi Arabia. U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel attacked the Iranian gas field without U.S. or Qatari involvement. Qatar's state-owned energy company reported extensive damage after its Ras Laffan industrial city was hit by Iranian missiles. Saudi Arabia says it intercepted and destroyed 4 ballistic missiles launched toward Riyadh, as well as a drone targeting a gas facility in the eastern part of the country. South Pars is the Iranian sector of the world's largest natural gas field, a deposit that Iran shares with Qatar. Qatar's foreign minister has rebuked Israel for what it calls a dangerous and irresponsible attack on Iran's South Pars facilities. It also condemned Iran's actions as a violation of international law and has expelled 2 Iranian diplomats. With more, here's Chijur with a closer look at why South Pars matters.
Though known by 2 names, South Pars in Iranian waters and the North Dome in Qatari waters, it is geologically speaking a single massive gas field. This division is a powerful illustration of the geopolitical complexities underpinning global energy supply. The gas field spans nearly 10,000 square kilometers and holds an estimated 51 trillion cubic meters of gas. For Iran, it is the backbone of domestic energy. The country is heavily reliant on natural gas, with approximately 80% of its supply coming from South Pars. In 2025, Iran's oil ministry reported record daily production from the field. Yet the field's influence extends far beyond Iran's borders. Its development was the catalyst that transformed Qatar into the world's largest exporter of liquefied natural gas. Its pipelines also carry essential fuel across international boundaries, making it a vital source of supply for neighboring countries such as Turkey. This is Chijit for the Beijing Hour.
Shipping data reveals a dramatic 60% drop in oil exports from the Gulf region compared with only a month ago. It's caused massive volatility in global energy prices. Analysts say the world is now facing its worst supply disruption after Iran's restrictions on shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Major producers like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have been forced to halt shipments and shut down a significant portion of their production. The U.S. launched strikes last week on military sites on Iran's Karg Island, home to the country's main oil export terminal. Washington says it could target the island's oil infrastructure if Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz closed to U.S. and allied ships. Experts say the conflict could affect global oil prices and inflation. Asan Kevani has more.
After several attacks on multiple cities across Iran, the United States decided to strike one of Iran's strategic islands in the Persian Gulf. Khark Island is the country's main hub to export crude oil. The population of less than 10,000 on Khark are mainly oil industry workers and military personnel. Following the attack, U.S. President Donald Trump said only military sites and facilities had been targeted. The move has been interpreted as a serious warning to Iran over the recent closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has caused global crude prices to experience three-digit numbers. Global increases in natural gas prices are also putting more pressure on the Trump administration. The closure is not limited to fossil fuels. A significant amount of non-oil commodities also pass through Hormuz. Regional countries do most of their trade through this waterway.
Iran alone exports or imports 20 million tons of commodities per month through the Persian Gulf. Given around 80 million tons of commodities being traded by other Persian Gulf countries, some 100 million tons of non-fossil commodities pass through the Strait of Hormuz per month.
Now, the question is what happens to Iran's oil exports if the US or Israel decide to attack oil facilities on Khark?
Iran has Jusk seaport outside the Strait of Hormuz. Jusk is capable of exporting 1 to 1.5 million barrels of oil per day.
A possible U.S. decision to punish Iran by hitting its oil and gas infrastructure could significantly challenge the global energy sector.
If they bring the war into the energy infrastructure, Iran will attack all the ports, American companies, and banks in the Arab neighbors. If they commit such a mistake, they will create room for wider action by Iran.
The International Monetary Fund warns that a 10% rise in global crude oil prices could increase global inflation by 0.4%.
Increased risks of insurance fees, together with big demurrage due to stoppage of tankers in the Persian Gulf, could push oil prices above $200 per barrel very soon.
Iran says it is fully controlling the Strait of Hormuz and it will allow whatever vessels that it wants to pass through. However, no vessels or tankers belonging to the US, Israel, or the Arab countries with American military bases can pass through for now. While the US and Israel have sporadically attacked Iran's energy and fuel depots, if such attacks are focused to destroy the country's oil and gas facilities in the south, a dramatic outcome could occur both in the global energy sector and in regional and international stability.
That was Ahsan Kevani on the global energy market outlook amid the Middle East crisis. News of Iran's strikes on Middle East energy infrastructure in retaliation for Israel's attacks on its South Pars gas field have sent oil prices soaring to record highs. Benchmark Brent crude jumped over 6% to $114 a barrel, while WTI crude holds above $96. WTI gained more than 3% to nearly $100 per barrel in early trading before retreating gradually amid sharp volatility. The White House says it's temporarily lifting some oil and gas shipping restrictions and will meet with oil executives later on Thursday. European Union leaders are gathering in Brussels for a summit to address the sharp rise in energy prices in Europe driven by the conflict. Much of the continent's oil and gas passes through the Strait of Hormuz, which is now disrupted. Costs have spiked over 60%, and short-term fixes are scarce. Arriving at the summit, Finnish Prime Minister Petteri Orpo said that he's unhappy about the situation in the world and that Europe needs to find a common voice and a common position. With economic shocks mounting, the EU Commission is hoping to present a new toolbox of strategies to bring down energy costs across the bloc. U.S. media has reported that the FBI is investigating former counterterrorism official Joe Kent, who recently resigned over the war with Iran. According to news station, the probe was already underway before Kent stepped down on Tuesday as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Reports say the investigation involves alleged leaks of classified information. Kent announced his resignation on social media, saying that he could not support what he described as an unnecessary war with Iran. He argued that Tehran Iran posed no imminent threat and claimed the conflict was driven by external pressure and misinformation. Analysts say the departure of a senior counterterrorism official highlights growing pressure on the administration of Donald Trump over the Iran conflict, as criticism mounts from Democratic lawmakers, business leaders, and parts of Trump's support base. Well, polls suggest many supporters of the Make America Great Again movement still back the military action. Some prominent voices, including former strategist Steve Bannon, have spoken out against it. And coming up, China urges Japan to change its views regarding the Taiwan region.
Discover the realities and responses to our changing climate with Climate Watch. Uncover critical issues such as the Masai Mara's disrupted wildebeest migration and the drop in the Panama Canal's water levels. Delve into solutions for a sustainable future. Tune in to Climate Watch on your favorite podcast platform. Become more eco-conscious and take action to protect our planet.
Now, 21 minutes past the hour. China has urged Japan to stop further sliding down the wrong path regarding the Taiwan question. It comes after a U.S. intelligence report said that Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks on the Chinese region last year represent a significant shift for a sitting leader. Li Jian is a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson.
Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's fallacies on Taiwan interfere in China's internal affairs, reveal her ambition of military intervention of the Taiwan question, and pose a military threat to China. The Chinese side has made clear its solemn position on multiple occasions. Relevant reports show that the international community is increasingly aware of the nature and negative impact of Takaichi's comments and vigilant against the dangerous moves of Japan's provocations.
Lee said Japan cannot convince the international community or its Asian neighbors with the one-liner that its position on Taiwan remains unchanged. And he urged Japan to honor the principles set in the 4 China-Japan political documents and abide by the pacifist provisions in the Japanese constitution. For Beijing's 22 million residents, the 12345 phone number is instantly recognizable. It's the capital's citizen service hotline, designed to handle public concerns and respond to needs. Sunia tells us how this approach to public service has inspired overseas visitors on better urban governance.
A delegation from South Africa has come to the Beijing Citizens Hotline Service Center today to see how calls of public complaints are picked up here. They saw how the center is run and how staff operators work. That made the hotline's name of being warm and efficient. They saw how AI is used and how sign language services are available for those in need. They also listen in on calls real time.
Like the fact that he feels comfortable requesting a toilet for a park for 50 people only, and the government is responsive to it. I think that's very impressive. I also like the center. It's very people-centric. The technology is amazing. The fact that the data is recorded real time, it enables evidence-based policy making. And what is the most impressive is the commitment to improve the quality of life of people.
Basically, this is a culture shock for us because in South Africa, we actually don't have such. So it's also quite impressive seeing young people working and knowing that young people are very good with technology and they catch up fast. So if one day we get such a system, it will be better for our country.
The visiting delegation say the way Beijing improves and innovates on urban governance are lessons that can be shared between Beijing and cities across the globe.
That was Sunia on Beijing's Citizen Service Hotline. In 2019, Beijing launched the Swift Response to Public Complaints initiative, integrating dozens of hotline services into one unified hotline number. 12345 acts as the primary channel for locals to raise issues or make requests. During the data from 2025 revealed that the platform, operating around the clock, had processed more than 150 million public complaints over the past 6 years, with resolution and satisfaction rates reaching nearly nearly 97%. Once a complaint is submitted via the hotline, it's immediately directed to the appropriate government department or public service organizations for resolution. The complainants then evaluate the outcome, ensuring that the public remains actively involved in monitoring, assessing, and overseeing the city's governance process. China's new 5-year plan lays out ambitious goals for building a beautiful China with cleaner air, more green spaces, and stronger environmental protections. On the ground, a diverse group of people is helping to make this vision a reality. In Shanghai, one German volunteer is using decades of experience to patrol the city's woodlands and waterways. And Jen Copestake has a story.
Shanghai is not only a city of skyscrapers and speed. Away from the city center in Zhangjian's Changyuan village, there is another side to it. Woodland, waterways, and green space that volunteers here are working to protect. And as cities like Shanghai continue to grow, spaces like this are becoming more valuable than ever. This is one small example of the green space that Shanghai is trying to preserve. And among the people looking after it is one man you might not expect to find here. A German volunteer whose experience in the forest goes back decades. Lothar Siegfried Susk is one of this area's volunteer forest leaders. Originally from Germany, he has lived in Shanghai for the last 25 years. He works as an executive in an international company, but says his love of China has also given him a desire to give something back to the local community where he lives.
I like China very much because especially the government, what they are doing, what they have done for the people, not only for the Chinese people, also for the foreign people. So I appreciate very much. And I live in China. I come to China 25 years. So I have seen the development in a very, very positive way.
Lothar worked in forests in Germany for 7 years and also studied to become an environmental technician. He now uses that practical knowledge here, patrolling the waterways, monitoring pollution, and observing the health of trees, watching for early signs of environmental damage.
All right.
Any problems can be reported straight away via a mini program on his phone.
And if I notice something more than I can handle by myself, then I took picture and I use the app. And the information will be transferred to the government, and then they took further actions.
For local people, it may still be a slightly unexpected sight. A German volunteer patrolling the forest in a bright green vest.
Some people who are able to speak English, especially elder people, they like to talk with me. So we exchange some information. They feel happy, I feel happy.
In a city better known for its skyline, this is a quieter kind of environmental protection, and a reminder that sometimes the people helping preserve a place do not come from where you expect.
That was Jen Copestake reporting. A research team from the Shenzhen Institute of Advanced Technology, in collaboration with a team from Harvard University, has successfully built a platform that functions like a biological programmer. It enables a single progenitor cell to generate different types of daughter cells through preset rules. The achievement has been published in the international academic journal Nature. It's expected to open new technological pathways in fields such as living materials and intelligent biomanufacturing. 29 past the hour. Beijing is down to +2 on Thursday evening. Friday will be sunny and 15 degrees. Shanghai's cloudy tonight and tomorrow. The low's down to 6, a high of 15. Chongqing will see a light rainfall and a low of 11. That's followed by cloudy conditions and 19 degrees. Nanchang's overcast and down to 11, then a light rainfall and 14. Lhasa will be cloudy. The low is +1, the high 13. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see a light rainfall. It's down to 11 overnight and 20 degrees on Friday. Vientiane's down to 23, then sunny and 36. Phnom Penh's getting cloudy skies and 24 degrees tonight. A light rainfall and 35 tomorrow. In Africa, Nairobi will see some rain and 24 degrees on Friday. Kampala's getting moderate rainfall. The low is 18, the high is 24 on Friday. Juba will see a light rain and 24, followed by heavy rainfall and 33 degrees. It's time for a short break. So far this hour, Turkmenistan's national leader has wrapped up his visit in Beijing after discussions with the Chinese president regarding cooperation and shared development. Iran says Israel has struck the South Pars gas field and Tehran's retaliated. And China's once again urged Japan to change its stance regarding the Taiwan question. Shane Bigham with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
Listen up. Can you hear the heartbeat of our world? It's vibrant and pulsating with the essence of life itself. From the stem of trees to the gurgle of rivers. From the silent strength of mountains to the icy whispers of glaciers. Even the solid ground beneath our feet. Right there, in the midst of all, beats the heart of humanity. What if those other heartbeats were to stop? Would ours keep on ticking?
Ever wondered what's actually going on in Africa through the perspective of an African? How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from African diplomats, entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get on our wavelength every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on your favorite podcast. We'll see you there.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Thursday. Still to come. In business, China's updating rules for foreign companies exporting food to China. In sports, setting up the last 8 in the UEFA Champions League. In culture and entertainment, celebrating the first International Tai Chi Day. To contact us, you can email radio@cgtn.com or follow our X account @CGTNradio. Well, first of all, with a check of the day's headlines, here's Tianli.
Thank you, Shane. China says killing Iranian leaders and attacking civilian facilities are unacceptable. A foreign ministry spokesperson said China is shocked by Israel's announcement to greenlight the army to kill senior Iranian leaders without prior political authorization. The official said China urges an immediate halt to the military operation and urges the regional situation not to spiral out of control. China has released guidelines extending rural land contracts for another 30 years, a move providing stability for hundreds of millions of farmers. The guidelines for the second round of contract extensions call for upholding collective ownership, maintaining household contract management, protecting the principal role of farmers, and ensuring rural social stability. They outline 15 measures in 5 sections, from pilot program implementation to protecting land contracting rights. Pilot programs have expanded since 2020 and will be carried across 29 provincial-level regions nationwide. Peng Liyuan, wife of Chinese President Xi Jinping and a WHO goodwill ambassador, is calling for stronger global action against tuberculosis. In a message for World Tuberculosis Day, she urged countries and communities to work together to prevent and treat the illness. Peng says China has made steady progress with better healthcare access and fewer cases. She also highlighted a nationwide volunteer campaign that has involved more than 1 million people. One of the few remaining survivors of the Nanjing massacre has passed away, leaving just 21 known witnesses worldwide. According to the Memorial Hall of the Victims of the Nanjing Massacre, Guan Shunhua died on Wednesday at the age of 101 in Nanjing. Born in 1925, she fled with her family to Huai'an in 1937 before Japanese troops entered the former capital. They returned a month later and took shelter in a safety zone where her uncle was killed during the violence. The massacre began on December 13, 1937, after Japanese forces captured the city. Over 6 weeks, about 300,000 Chinese civilians and unarmed soldiers were killed in one of the worst atrocities of World War II.
In 2014, China designated December the 13th as a National Memorial Day, and survivor testimonies have been preserved in written and video form. Documents were added to the UNESCO Memory of the World Register in 2015. Thailand's new parliament has re-elected Phumjatthai party leader Anutin Chanvirakul as prime minister. Phumjatthai secured nearly 40% of the seats in the lower house to become the biggest party in parliament. The Kremlin says the Russia-US-Ukraine Security Working Group is suspended. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the separate Russia-US Economic Group remains operational. 3 rounds of trilateral talks have been held this year, the latest in Geneva last month. Pakistan and Afghanistan have announced a temporary suspension of military strikes. Both sides said the halt is in observance of Eid al-Fitr. Tensions between the two countries have escalated rapidly after clashes broke out along the border last month. Eid al-Fitr in Afghanistan began on Thursday, while in Pakistan it is expected to begin on Saturday. The festival lasts 3 days. Australian Treasurer Jim Chalmers has warned that a prolonged conflict in the Middle East could slow economic growth and push inflation higher. He says Treasury models show that GDP could fall by up to 0.6% by next year, with lasting effects in the years that follow. Chalmers says oil prices could rise to around $120 per barrel and take years to return to normal levels. He also warned that inflation could rise from the current 3.8% to nearly 5% this year.
All right, thank you very much. That's Tian Lu with headlines. Coming up in business, China's updating rules for foreign companies exporting food to China.
The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
37 minutes past the hour. And turning to business, here's Wang Ziheng.
Thank you, Shane. Stock markets on the Chinese mainland closed lower on Thursday. The Shanghai Composite was down around 1.4%. The Shenzhen component lost nearly 2%. Gas and oil exploitation and oil field engineering shares were among the top gainers. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index decreased over 2%. Japan's Nikkei lost nearly 3.4%. China will implement new regulations on the registration of overseas manufacturers exporting food to China starting from June this year. The General Administration of Customs says it will determine the list of food imports requiring such registration. The list of food imports not subject to automatic renewal of registration and the scope of overseas food storage enterprises that should register. These decisions will be made based on an assessment of raw material sources, production and processing techniques, and target consumer groups in line with international practices. The registration will be valid for 5 years and will be automatically renewed for another 5 years if no rules are breached. The sixth China International Consumer Products Expo will open in Hainan province in mid-April. The expo in Haikou marks the first edition of the event since the Hainan Free Trade Port fully launched island-wide special customs operations. Canada will be the guest of honor at this year's expo. The event will feature new product launches, supply-demand matchmaking sessions, and over 10 themed activities designed to stimulate consumption. The Film Plus model, where cinema merges with culture and tourism, is transforming a 52 billion yuan box office, around $7.5 billion into an 810 billion yuan whole value chain. This positions China among the world's top film markets on both metrics. More than 30% of the value reflected procurement, promotion, and other commercial activities, while 40% of the industry's reach covered sectors such as retail, dining, and outings, all based on movie intellectual properties. For more, Vivian Nunes spoke with Du Jiayi, a research fellow at Shanghai University of International Business and Economics.
Aside from box office revenue, what other economic benefits can a city gain from being associated with a blockbuster film?
Yes, the economic impact of a blockbuster film on a city extends far beyond the ticket booth. When a major production chooses a specific urban backdrop, It triggers a ripple effect that can revitalize the local economy for decades. During filming, a blockbuster acts as a temporary massive employee. We can also see massive contracts for local catering, equipment rentals, and hotels. Perhaps the most sustainable gain is film-induced tourism. Fans always travel thousands of miles to stand where their favorite character stood. This screen tourism supports a whole ecosystem of themed walking tours, souvenir shops, and hospitality spots. Hosting a blockbuster often leads to permanent infrastructure upgrades. To accommodate large crews, cities may improve roads, utilities, or public spaces. More importantly, it serves as a global marketing campaign. A city's appearance in a hit movie provides a cool factor.
And box office records are being broken regularly in China. We talk about it on the show a lot. But films and cinemas themselves are nothing new. So what has fundamentally changed?
Yes, like you mentioned, the recent trend of record-breaking box office figures is driven by a fundamental shift in the industry's ecosystem, moving from the simple entertainment to a sophisticated integration of technology, culture, and infrastructure. In the past, high-end cinemas were concentrated in Tier 1 and 2 cities. The current boom is fueled by market penetration into small cities and towns. China also leads the world in online to offline services. The way people buy tickets has undergone a digital revolution. Real-time data allows theaters to adjust the screening schedules within hours based on social media sentiment. Social media platforms have shortened the distance between a viral moment and a ticket purchase. A 15-second emotional clip can always trigger a must-see trend to overnight.
On the production side, how is the digitalisation of filmmaking in China impacting overall production budgets?
Oh yes, the digitalization of film production in China has reached a tipping point this year. The most dramatic impact is seen in the reduction of tangible expenses. Digitalization, such as virtual production and AI-generated content, is slashing traditional overhead. This has been reported to cut large-scale set costs by up to 90%. By using LED volumes to simulate locations, studios eliminated the need to transport hundreds of crew members to remote areas. As physical costs drop, budgets are being rebalanced toward the technical infrastructure. Filmmaking budgets now preferring high-performance computing rentals and AI model subscriptions. Also, digital workflows have compressed the production timelines from years and months to as little as 15 days.
That was Du Jiayi at Shanghai University of International Business and Economics. Humanoid robots took center stage at the 2026 Yabu Li China Entrepreneurs Forum as industry leaders predicted major breakthroughs in the near future. The forum at the Yabu Li ski resort in northeast China brought together business leaders, scholars, and experts from various industries this year. Artificial intelligence and robotics emerged as the hottest topics throughout the event. It comes ahead of the 2026 Humanoid Half Marathon on April the 19th in Beijing. Some models are expected to run with more navigational autonomy compared to last year's inaugural race. The CEO of Unitree Robotics says these robots are close to being able to outrun human athletes. Wang Xingxing emphasized general dexterity, urging attendees to focus on the biggest obstacles that robots currently face in meeting more diverse work requirements. Wang also says as artificial intelligence technology rapidly advances, the pace of embodied intelligence moving towards commercial application is also accelerating. Soaring oil prices triggered by the Middle East conflict are rippling through Thailand's economy, hitting energy-dependent sectors from fishing to farming. For Thailand's fishing fleets that rely mostly on diesel, the spike means fewer trips, smaller catches, or no trip at all. Fisherman Pradit Lekdi says costs are now so high that they risk losing money by going to sea.
I'm really struggling. If it keeps on going like this, even only for another month or two, 100% of all the fishing boats will stop because of high oil prices and limited supply. Right now, 70 to 80% have stopped.
Thailand's farms are also feeling the strain. Tourism, another pillar of the economy, is also showing signs of strain. In the first week of March, international arrivals fell nearly 9% on a weekly basis. Visitors from Europe and the Middle East, who often transit through hubs like Dubai, dropped 18%. Data from the U.S. Treasury Department shows the federal government's total public debt surpassed the $39 trillion milestone as of Tuesday. U.S. media reports indicate that the ballooning debt is a byproduct of conflicting objectives within the government, including the adoption of sweeping tax legislation, increased defense spending, and strengthened immigration enforcement. Matters such as war and tax cuts have also driven spending increases. The U.S. Government Accountability Office says rising government debt will lead to higher borrowing costs and reduced funds available to business for investment, which can depress wage levels and bring higher prices for goods and services. Now, the U.S. Federal Reserve held interest rates steady on Wednesday, projecting higher inflation, steady unemployment, and a single rate cut this year. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the outlook is clouded by unusually high uncertainty. China has announced new achievements in its strategic mineral exploitation breakthrough initiatives. Solid mineral deposits have been discovered in Sichuan and Gansu province, including rare earth elements. During the 14th five-year plan period, the country also made breakthroughs in its strategic mineral exploitation initiatives. For instance, 10 new oil fields with reserves exceeding 100 million metric tons and 19 large-scale gas fields have been discovered. The reserves of critical minerals such as uranium, gold, and lithium increased significantly.
All right, thank you very much. That's Wang Ziheng with Business. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, we're setting up the last 8 in the UEFA Champions League.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
47 past now. Turning to sports, here's Yang Guang.
Thank you, Shane. In football, Barcelona has stormed into the last 8 of the UEFA Champions League with a thumping 7-2 victory over Newcastle, sealing an 8-3 aggregate win. Head coach Hansi Flick says he's delighted with the victory, though he admits that the first half was tough.
The first half was very tough. So we also are, we know that they are pressing, but they did it really good. Man-to-man was not easy for us. We overcome when we scored the first goal, very good. But then it goes like, up and down, and was tough the first half. I'm very happy that we scored the third goal. And then in the halftime we said that we have to, first was all our ideas. The solution was always play in front. So we lost many balls. This is for a team like Newcastle with the fast players. They made a fantastic transition, so it was not easy to defend. So
Barca will take on Atletico Madrid in an all-La Liga quarter-final clash. In other matches, Bayern Munich beat Atlanta 4-1 in the second leg of the round of 16, advancing to the quarter-finals with a 10-2 aggregate victory. Bayern will next face Real Madrid, meaning England teammates Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham will go head-to-head. Liverpool will have the chance to get revenge on defending champion Paris Saint-Germain for last year's defeat. Arsenal will need to tread carefully against this season's surprise package Sporting. The quarterfinals are in April. Lionel Messi has reached another milestone with his 900th career goal. He scored a goal in the opening minutes of Inter Miami's CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16 match against Nashville, which ended with a 1-1 draw. But Nashville advanced on away goals and will meet Club America in the quarterfinals. Inter Miami head coach Javier Mascherano praised the performance of his players.
In this case, the reality is that I have no complaints by the players. None whatsoever. They gave the war. They put everything into it. Sometimes, if the team cannot find the fluidity or struggling, as the manager, let's do review what's been done.
Cristiano Ronaldo is the only other men's player with over 900 goals by official counts. He got his 900th in 2024. Japan has powered past South Korea 4-1 to book its place for the final of the AFC Women's Asian Cup. The result means that South Korea fell short of reaching back-to-back finals. Japan will next face Australia, who beat China in the other semi. The president of the Confederation of African Football has defended the decision to award Morocco the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations title. The CAF ruled that Senegal should forfeit the final after walking off the field in protest of a video review. Patrice Motsepe said the decision was not taken lightly, but made with integrity. He also defended the independence of the governing body's judicial process, which he said is reflected by decisions taken by two different bodies.
The CAF disciplinary board took one decision. The CAF appeals board took a totally different position. And I'm told that Senegal is going to appeal, which is very important. Every one of the 54 nations in Africa have a right to pursue their appeals and their advance interests, not only at the highest level in Africa, in CAF, but also the highest body, which is the CAS. Not a single country in Africa will be treated in a manner that is more preferential or more advantageous or more favorable than any other country on the African continent.
Senegal has expressed dismay over the decision, saying the ruling ran counter to the principles of fairness, loyalty, and respect for the truth on the field. It called an independent international investigation into suspected corruption within CAF governing bodies. The country's football federation also plans to file an appeal with the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And finally, in snooker, reigning world champion Zhang Xintong is into the last 16 of the World Open in Yushan, Jiangxi province. He opened with a century break of 100 before going on to seal a 5-1 win over Sam Craigie. Zhao will next face Gary Wilson for a place in the quarterfinals. Seven-time world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan won 5 straight frames to beat teammate Matthew Selt 5-0. World number 1 Judd Trump also delivered a strong display, beating Jackson Page 5-2.
Thank you very much. That's Yang Guang with sports. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, and coming up in culture and entertainment, celebrating the first International Tai Chi Day.
From north to south, east to west, people in China are chasing their dreams and leaving their mark. Want to know how they beat the odds and made a difference? Footprints brings you the true life stories of their journeys.
It's 53 past the hour. In culture and entertainment, the UNESCO headquarters in Paris has held a celebration ahead of the first International Day of Tai Chi Chuan, or Tai Chi, which falls on Saturday. The event highlighted the philosophical depth of the traditional Chinese martial art and the healthy lifestyle it embodies. Dozens of performers took the stage in front of an audience of over 400 guests. Their display reflected core principles such as the balance of yin and yang and the interplay between softness and strength, rooted in Chinese philosophy, traditional medicine, and martial arts. Tai Chi Chuan is practiced in over 180 countries and regions. In 2020, UNESCO inscribed it on its representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Chinese micro-dramas are gaining popularity around the world with their short, fast, and addictive characteristics. And as Liu Mohan reports, many people are now welcoming the new phase of global streaming.
I absolutely cannot stop watching. I'm so addicted to this cringy, cheesy short dramas. But I know I'm not alone because global audiences are just as hooked as I am.
I think I'm starting to understand the whole expressions. Once you start Chinese dramas, you're never gonna go back.
I'm literally dying over this E-drama, bro. I'm
started it like 3 days ago. I'm already on episode 24.
For those who don't know, microdramas are soap operas meets TikTok. It started in China, but it's growing. It's literally estimated to hit $26 billion by 2030.
Chasing Jade, episodes 6 through 9. I'm just going to delve straight in with my thoughts and opinions. Welcome to our FaceTime call.
Now, don't go thinking microdramas are all just over-the-top cliches and billionaire romance tropes. They have so much more to offer. I strongly recommend you this. Borrowed Name of Lang Ya, a recent hit that surpassed 1 billion views online. Today, I had the chance to meet the creative force behind it, director Wang Shuai.
What really made this one stand out in today's microdrama scene is how unique it is. Sure, it's got that classic web novel element, time travel. But here's the twist. The male lead travels back in time and does nothing. He doesn't try to change history or save anyone. And through his eyes, we get taken on a journey through one of China's most fascinating eras, the Northern and Southern Dynasty. It's chaotic, but also full of death and drama. I think that's why it hit differently.
And it's not just newcomers making waves. Established actors are also diving into the microdrama world. A great example is Li Dongxue, widely recognized by Chinese audiences for his role in Empresses in the Palace. Now he's reinvented himself as a director and producer in this fast-growing space.
Last year, we also worked on a microdrama called 怒刺. It was made by a team of about 150 people, and we shot it in just around 25 days. Since it came out, a lot of viewers have shared feedbacks saying they really loved the show's visual style and how well it fit with the story.
It's true, these microdramas are not just a trend. They're topping US charts, landing on global platforms, and taking over screens everywhere. With their fast pace and gripping plots, Chinese microdramas are leading the charge in next-gen entertainment.
That was Liu Mohan in Shenzhen. The 30th Hong Kong International Film and TV Market is underway, attracting nearly 800 exhibitors from almost 40 countries and regions. Participants include major film and TV markets such as France, Italy, South Korea, Cambodia, and Malaysia. The event features exhibitors from emerging markets participating for the first time. It's partnered with 10 global film promotion organizations to promote cross-regional cooperation and co-production projects. The Hong Kong Trade Development Council also held a forum alongside the expo, bringing together global industry leaders to discuss a variety of topics. At 57 past the hour, Beijing down to +2 this evening. It'll be sunny and 15 on Friday. Shanghai is cloudy tonight and tomorrow, a low of 6 degrees, a high of 15. Chongqing will see a light rainfall and a low of 11. That turns way to cloudy skies and 19. Nanchang will be overcast and down to 11, then a light rainfall and 14. Last is cloudy. The low is +1, the high is 13 degrees Celsius. And that's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Making news today, Turkmenistan's national leaders wrapped up his visit in Beijing after discussions with the Chinese president regarding cooperation and shared development. And Iran says Israel has struck the South Pars gas field, and Tehran's retaliated on a number of regional targets. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital, hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
Find the Beijing Hour at precisely 6 p.m. Beijing time. We meet you on podcast and on air every weekday. The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
He can't live without the Yellow River in his eyes.
The Yellow River is so noble and elegant.
Both my grandpa and dad made a living from the river.
Would you like to move away from the Yellow River?
I don't think I will. I love it so much.
The Yellow River, the second longest river in China, is regarded as a shaping force in the history, economy, and culture of northern China. Today, about 100 million people live within its water basin, making up nearly 9% of the country's population. How is climate change felt at its headwaters, and what are the locals doing to cope with it? What are the descendants of the boatmen doing? What has kept some people from leaving their home village by the river, and what has drawn others back? Could the fading fishing community revive in a time of digital transformation? From 2021 to 2024, our reporters visited the upper, middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, talked to the herders, farmers, boatmen, fishermen and eco-activists who share a close bond with the river, and present their stories in pictures, podcasts and videos, all in our 12-part series, The Yellow River Mosaic, available only on CGTN Radio